These are the batteries I'll be using on the tools in the following tests. These are the driver bits I'll be using. Start arguing and complaining down in the comment section now. If you have interest in seeing the actual tools, feel free to keep watching. Welcome back guys to another tool review comparison thingy. If this is your first time here, welcome. I do a ton of reviews and comparison videos, mostly with cordless tools. So if you like that sort of thing, please consider giving that little subscribe button a tap and the little bell next to it, and then we can pump out a few more of these things. If you are a regular, you will know we have already put this 40 volt Makita impact driver up against the high Koki 36 volt, the Makita 18 volt, and hiding in the back there, the Milwaukee 18 volt. This week we are going with the yellow fella here, the DeWalt. Now I have already done reviews on both of these tools, so I won't give you too many specs and details about them. You can check out my other videos up here in the corner down in the description if you want to see full reviews I have done on these tools. But I will just give you the basics today, and then we'll get stuck in to just seeing who's got the most power, who can drive the biggest screws, who can drive the screws the fastest. That's what we're here for. This tool is rated at 205 Newton meters. This tool is rated at 220 Newton meters. This tool has a rated top speed of 3,250 RPM and an impacts per minute speed of 3,800. This one has a rated top speed of 3,700 RPM and impacts per minute of 4,400. I think that's about all you need to know. These first tests we're going to do on the highest setting. The DeWalt only has 3. The Makita we are going to put on the number 4 setting. So standard number 4, standard number 3. Let's go for it. Top speeds, we are going to drive 100mm batten screws first. Some stainless buggers. I'll do 3 of each. We'll stick them next to each other. See who's the quickest. These batteries are of course freshly charged. A little hard to see that one. Oh, drops off one by one. How cute. Oh. Model numbers and further details about these tools can be found down in the description. Galvanized 14 gauge 200mm batten screws. Next up we'll drill some holes with this 25mm 1-inch speed bore bit. Now the DeWalt is quite a bit higher with these batteries on, and this isn't even the biggest battery you get with the DeWalt. It's also quite a bit longer. This is basically the largest bulk size 18 volt impact driver by any large company. This is DeWalt's top model, as long as you're not including ones that you run with your phone. The chuck on the DeWalt, real nice to put bits in, but this is a huge fail. Look at the movement there. It's like a celebrity after a bender, isn't it? I mean, far out. The Makita doesn't go in quite as nicely. A little bit tighter to get in. But once it's in there, a lot less movement. It's just the movement within the chuck that they all impact drivers seem to have. Whereas this one also has the chuck wobbling around like a bastard. How will they do with just pure grunt driving a 10mm or 3/8, 280mm long or 11-inch landscape screw? Both of these tools with these big bulky batteries on aren't greatly balanced. They want to pull down on the battery end. So impact drivers, you can get away with using much smaller batteries as long as you're not driving massive screws. This is the same, pulls down. Using these tools together all day today, I can't without looking at the footage, which I will do shortly when I begin editing this video, but you will have already seen it all by the time you get to this point. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird time loop. Anyway, I can't tell which one is actually faster. They're so similar in the top driving speeds, except for on one test where this one was a bit hit and miss. But they're basically very close. So I'll have to look at the footage and see who's actually quicker before I can do my summarization of these two impact drivers. When it comes to fine stuff, the DeWalt doesn't have a lot of options. You've only got those 3 settings, which is the bare minimum by any tool company these days. The number 1 setting has a picture of a screw on it, so maybe that's the one you use for screws. Real nice control there. That's really nice. Putting them in, a bit gutless. Jeez, took about delayed. See there, I'm not taking my finger off, we're just holding the trigger. It stops. And then it sort of wakes up and goes, oh shit, the screw's not in yet. I'll just give it a few tappies until she's in. That's real weird. I've never seen any other impact driver do that. These are 32mm plasterboard screws I'm screwing around with here, which is like, what, 1.25 inches. We've now got this on the 2nd setting, which is much faster. See, that went way too deep just. So on the 2nd setting or above, you're going to have to control it, the variable speed, which is easy enough, of course. This is the Makita on the lowest speed. Very similar to the DeWalt, coming out and on going in. I'm pulling my finger off when I get to the right level. So this starts impacting as soon as it feels the resistance. Unlike the DeWalt, which stopped, waited a while, and then started tapping. Both of those have their merits depending on which one you like the best. You'll be able to do it quicker with the small screws with the Makita because you're in control a bit more than you are with the DeWalt, which it is trying to take control. The Makita does have a ton of other settings, such as this one, which is a wood mode. So this has 10 settings, this has 3, so of course a lot more room for finesse and getting the right thing dialed in with a Makita than this DeWalt. Now whenever I put out a video, especially one with 2 different competing brands in it, I always get a lot of people that are dedicated to one particular brand who will slag off the other brand no matter what and will not take any bad word against their brand. They will think that everything they've ever heard or you say that is bad about that brand doesn't exist. But there's no denying. You can complain about it all you want, fanboys, but this thing overheats way quicker than any other impact driver around. Never seen anything overheat quicker than this. And if you don't believe me, Google it, look at other YouTube videos. This thing gets so hot, so fast. It tends to still keep going, but it really overheats quick. The battery affixment on DeWalt tools is crap compared to some other brands. Problems with this won't be apparent yet, as this is a relatively new tool to the market, not even in North America yet. So it's hard to say longevity wise how these will compare to all the other impact drivers. But overheating wise, my money is this will not overheat anywhere near as much as this thing ever will. For starters, a 36 volt tool will run cooler, or should run cooler, than an 18 volt tool, because it's not having to put through as much current to get the same amount of power. I have edited all the footage now, which of course you will have already seen, and well, it was pretty close, wasn't it? It just goes to show the numbers that the companies give you aren't really worth the paper they're written on. On paper, this had more torque, more speed, more impacts. Yet this basically beat it. Just ever so slightly. They're basically the same. There's just some slight little differences in speed and torque, but very, very similar. The Makita, however, does do a lot better with those large landscape screws. This one, I've driven a lot of these in the last few weeks, and this one hasn't faltered. Does them basically the same every time, and so does this one. But this one, not so much. This one, hit and miss. Sometimes it nailed it through and you thought, oh wow, that was really nice, it was really good. And then other times it would stutter and just vibrate and not quite do it to its full potential, shall we say. Looking again at the size, these two don't look too bad together. But when you start putting it up against the other 18 volts, these two are in the same class. The Makita, much, much smaller. Same with the Milwaukee. The DeWalt, definitely the biggest around. So if you're sitting at home saying the 18 volt beat the 36 volt, what's the point in the new Makita 40 volt? I would have to kind of agree with you in a way. Having said that, I would always buy that over this, because this is not going to last as long as this, most likely. Some of you will argue that, of course, but these overheat like crazy. There's other issues that I can't imagine these are going to have. This has way more features. This is nicer to use. But in the end, it's up to you which one you want to buy, of course. So thanks for watching, guys. More reviews coming, of course, as always. And I've just got a heap of hardware in, as you can see here. So there's going to be some more tests coming up very soon. So if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you on another one. If you haven't already watched, got reviews up against that, and the green one, which is on the other side of the bench over there, and yeah. I have to get past the camera tripod and I'm bound to trip over, so we'll just leave it at that, eh? Thanks guys, see you on the next one.